Heritage, of course, are the good old American brand. This is Chinese made. Don't tell anyone. It's almost like it's a secret. Just want to point out a couple of little potential issues. Look at that. Yeah, that's not great, is it? That had actually just come loose. It was about to fall off, so. I've got some exciting news. You see the Epiphone firebird there? It's there. Yeah. I've launched a competition. You're going to find out about it in. The Guitaristas is proudly supported by Gear for Music. Hello, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Guitaristas. So this week we're finally going to review this, or what I've had for ages. It's the Heritage H-137 from the Ascent collection. The Ascent collection. This is the Chinese made one. Don't tell anyone. Because Heritage, of course, are a good old American brand. Good old. Forget that. I won't do voices. I'm not very good at them. Heritage, of course, are the good old American brand that were formed of ex-Gibson employees, 1985 I think it was, wasn't it? In the original Gibson plant in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And have made guitars, fine handcrafted instruments ever since then. More recently, in recent years, they were bought out by a conglomerate. And just last year, I think it was, wasn't it? They launched very cheap versions, very cheap. This was 199 English pounds. How much, Cole? Yeah, 199 English pounds. And I bought this last year at the same time as I bought the H-150 from the Ascent collection, which is the one based on the Les Paul Standard, you know, the carved top. That was really nice, wasn't it? Did you see that review? I recently sold that, and I thought, well, blimey, I've still got this one. I ought to get around to reviewing it. So that's what we're doing this week. We'll see if this, see if it's any good. Yeah, that's what we're going to do, isn't it? We'll review it. We'll do it all. We'll do it all. Yeah, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do it all, ladies and gentlemen. I had this idea in my head earlier. I was going to say, hello, ladies and germs. Who said that? That was someone's catchphrase, wasn't it? Back in the 70s, probably, wasn't it? I can't remember who it is. I don't know why it crossed my mind. Forget about it. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to review this. I will waffle on a little bit like this throughout. So you know the score. If you're in a bit of a rush, timestamps are in the description box. So you don't have to listen to me bang on. If you've got half an hour or probably 40 minutes or so, time on your hands, go and put the kettle on. Make yourself a nice cup of tea or coffee, or get something a little bit stronger maybe. You might need it. And come back and chill out, and let's get stuck in and let's get under the skin of this beast. It's not a beast, is it? It's a guitar, isn't it? Really. I'm going to move on now because I'm fucking this up, quite frankly. Let's get stuck in. Right, so first, a little bit of info about this Ascent collection. And it is only a little bit because there isn't much info out there, I'll be honest with you. As I said just now, Heritage were taken over by a conglomerate called Caldecott Music Group, and they're a conglomerate, and they own several brands, such as BandLab Technologies, NME Networks, and Vista Musical Instruments, under which come now Heritage guitars, Harmony guitars, and mono cases, mono cases. I use a mono case all the time. I carry all my guitars around in mono cases. So they got some good gear, that's what I'm saying, including Heritage. The American-made guitars are now under that umbrella. And this Ascent collection. And, and Sweely Music. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. They also own Sweely Music in Singapore and Dawson's in the UK. So the Ascent collection, a little bit under the radar. Well, actually, when I reviewed the H-150 Ascent last year, I said, I thought maybe it's a soft launch, because you couldn't really find any information on them anywhere apart from Sweely and Dawson's. I now am of the opinion that it's kind of purposely kept, I'm going to say, globally almost trying to disassociate themselves from the American-made instruments. I mean, that might be going a little bit too far, but the American-made instruments are sold, everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but they've got retailers, Andertons have got them in the UK, and I think Sweetwater carry them in the States, and, you can find, if you do that, that's Googling, that is. If you Google Heritage H-137, they're out there, but not this one, not the Ascent collection, the cheap ones, not the Chinese-made ones. They're only available from Dawson's in the UK, Sweely in Singapore, and BandLab Technologies. On the BandLab Technologies app, Manis. Okay, I'm going to put a link to that in the description box from Landon Bailey, who did a review of the humbucker version. We'll get to that in a second. I'm going to put a link to that because he might earn a couple of quid if you're in the States. That's what I'm saying is, and you want to find this, you'll only find it on the BandLab app. So Landon's links there. Check that out if you're in the States. In the UK, Dawson's in Denmark Street. They got the whole range, all the American-made ones and the cheap ones, as have Sweely in Singapore. I don't know why I put on a funny voice. I said I wasn't going to do that earlier, didn't I? There we go. There you go. I've done it anyway. So the other thing is I couldn't get any picks. I was going to download some picks like we normally do. We normally take a grab, don't we? Download. That's what that colour is. That's what that colour is. But I wasn't even able to do that. It's almost like it's a secret, unless you're in the know. So this particular version, the H-137, comes with P90s and a wrap tail, or it also comes as a double humbucker version with a wrap tail. I think I can't show you the pictures because I couldn't get them. And this particular one comes in this marigold yellow. It comes in vintage cherry. It comes in black, I think, and sunburst. And that's all I can tell you, or all I can show you. Nothing. So I've told you. 199 English pounds, $299 on Sweely. I'm not sure if that's US dollars or Singapore dollars. If it's Singapore dollars, that's going to be a pretty good deal, isn't it? Because they're like Australian dollars, aren't they? Or they were last time I was in Singapore. So I'm guessing that's probably US dollars, is it? I don't know. Let me know. If anyone in Singapore, let me know what these actually cost on the street in Singapore, please. So, it's, I mean, the other one that I reviewed was great. This one, well, should we start reviewing it and find out what it's like? There's no point in me telling you what that one's like. What's this one like? Well, it's marigold yellow. It's based on Gibson Les Paul Special, isn't it? Clearly, it's a slab body, this. This is made of akume, which is known as African mahogany, and it's known as a nice tone wood. It's not especially light, this, so I think at this juncture, we'll weigh it. It's just over 8 pounds, which is, of course, 3.65 kilos. So it's not especially heavy, but it's not especially light, is it, for a special? Yeah, it's a bit of a lump. It feels it anyway. And I should probably mention it's got a comfort carve. Now, this has got a maple neck, and it's a bolt-on one, as you can see there. More about that in 1 second. Call it a medium C-shaped neck, 12-inch radius fingerboard, medium jumbo frets. Let's have a look at the neck profile and measurements on the screen now. Okay, here's the neck profile and measurements at the 1st fret. And here's the neck profile and measurements at the 12th fret. Now, before we take the strings off, just want to point out a couple of little potential issues. Firstly, the neck, bolt-on neck. Here you go, here's a couple of close-ups. It's not a very good, fit. You could get a bloody something down there. Look, well, what could you get down there? Let's find out what you could get down there. Look at that. Yeah, that's not great, is it? That side's got a little, it's only a split in the poly probably, but probably as a consequence of that. So, I'm gonna have to tweak that in a bit, see if we can straighten it up, because obviously the consequence of that is it's not straight, so the string there is closer to the edge of the board. You see that? Very similar to actually one of my 70s Fenders, my Telecaster Custom is like that. So, it's easy enough to, well, it should be easy enough to fix. I will have to tweak the neck. We'll have to just loosen the screws and straighten it up. But there you go. That's a thing. The other thing is I very rarely mention action out of the box, like this is out of the box, because normally I don't notice any issues. With this one I did, very high. It feels very high out the box. There you go. That's what it is. Some close-ups there. And we're going to need to lower the action on this as well, or tweak the truss rod, which I would say out of 9 times out of 10 on cheap guitar reviews, I don't do anything. So this one, not great out of the box. The other one, the H-150 that I reviewed last year, was fine. No issues with that at all. So couple of strikes there for this one. Let's get the strings off and have a closer look at the frets and other bits and bobs. It's a lightning bar tail bridge, and as Landon Bailey also mentioned, it looks like it is an Epiphone branded one, and they've actually ground? Yeah, they've ground off the logo. Yeah, like the Squier Paranormal Stratosonic that we reviewed last year had an Epiphone bridge. So obviously, well, it doesn't make sense why they wouldn't fit an alternative. There are loads of alternatives that they could fit without choosing the Epiphone one, isn't there? I suppose this is the cheapest option out there. Are they made? I'm sure Epiphones have got their own factory. I don't know. Maybe they don't. I always assumed that Gibson owned the Epiphone factory and they're a separate thing to any other of the Chinese-made guitars. Maybe they're not. I'm sure there's an expert out there that's going to tell us, or several of you. Please tell us, are these made in the same factory as Epiphones? Surely no, they wouldn't be, would they? Of course they wouldn't be, Cole. Anyway, I'm pretty sure, Landon, I'm pretty certain you're right. This is an Epiphone tail bridge. So that's that. Moving on. Tuners, they got these kidney bean style tuners, so they look really nice, don't they? They look like Grovers from the front. They're mini die-cast Grover style sealed units in reality from the back, so they're not as good as they look from the front. They feel like, Yeah, they feel like you'd expect. Is it loose? Does that come loose? The screw. Some screwdriver. Yeah, that had actually just come loose. It was about to fall off. So, okay, yeah, they're not great. They're not great. What I didn't mention, it's got a 24 3/4 inch scale length, so Gibson scale length. It's got a Laurel fingerboard. I don't think I mentioned that. It's got a Laurel fingerboard. That's what that looks like. Let's have a close-up now on those frets. They're medium jumbo. They're a little bit grubby, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, that's part of the course, isn't it, for a cheap guitar? Not moaning about that. They don't seem, they feel fine. They feel okay. Yeah, they feel fine. Not sure what they look like close up, but they look to the naked eye. The camera, those close-ups on the camera, they really show. There's too much detail, really, because if you look at the close-ups there, you think, oh, that's horrible. Actually, it didn't look horrible at all to the naked eye. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, and we've had the neck profile. It's pretty thin, and it feels thin and wide. So yeah. Okay, dual action truss rod in here. I know that from the specs. It's got a 3-way switch, which feels very cheap and clunky. It's got 2 P90s. We'll have a look under there in a second, and we'll have a look inside there in a second. I think what we'll do is we'll just take this scratch guard off. And see if there's anything to see. No, absolutely nothing to see. So, I mean, a lot of you are probably saying it looks a lot better already without this odd-shaped heritage scratch plate. But then you've got the you've got holes to contend with, so you'd have to work out a good way of filling those holes in. Yeah, okay. Just leave that there for a second. And talking about odd shapes, of course, I haven't mentioned the headstock yet, but I think the reason is I'm used to this now. Because I've mucked around with a couple of heritage guitars, you know, last year, it sort of seems normal to me now. So I'm not a heritage headstock hater anymore. You know, first I was a little bit, oh, I don't know about that. Which a lot of people are like, but now I think, no, that's a heritage headstock. And you know, as we said in the other review, you know, really top marks to them for making a budget guitar with the full brand weight behind them, because it will sell a lot of these. Because it looks cool. I mean, you know, if you're on stage with this, nobody would know if you were playing this £199 version or the, I'm going to say 2,000. I don't know how much the other one's going to be £2,000 or the best part of £2,000. So, you know, it's what I think it's what Gibson would really love to do with, you know, and they're trying to do it with Epiphone, aren't they? They're going all the way now. They've gone all the way except the logo, haven't they? They've got the headstock, but they've still got Epiphone on it, you know. If they went that extra mile, I mean, it would be a big step for Gibson, wouldn't it? But if they did, ooh, people wouldn't like it, would they? Well, some would. Some would. They go, oh, it's a Chinese Gibson. That's what an Epiphone is anyway, isn't it? This is a Chinese heritage, I think. It's the future, isn't it? I mean, people, I'm going to talk about this later. Let's get on with the review, Carl. Right, let's take some pickup readings. Incidentally, if you're still here, a few of you will be, you want to stick around to the end because I've got some exciting news. I've got some exciting news. Well, I think it is exciting. And I've already launched on my on the TV subscription channel a competition to win You can see the Epiphone Firebird there. It's there. Yeah. I've launched a competition. You're going to find out about it in 15 minutes probably. Stick around. Don't skip. Stick around. Then you need to stick around because there might be a reason that you need to stick around. Anyway, let's get on with this. Oh, such a tease. Have we got the... Just looking to see if the meter's in shot. I've done this before and had that out of shot. Let's do it. Oh, I'm really making a meal of it today. Right, let's have a look. The bridge pickup reading is 7.74 kilo ohms, and the inductance of that is 4.2 henries. Over to the neck. Oh, don't fucking do this to me. Oh, come on. It's all right. I had it turned down. I'll say down, turned down to 8. Well, that don't bode well for that pot, does it? Anyway, I've got a reading. There's 9.18k on the neck, and the inductance of that is 5.49 henries. So let's just have a look at that again. The neck, 9.17. The bridge, 7.73. So it's going to be interesting to see what that sounds like, isn't it? Then the middle, just for fun, 4.20 kilo ohms. Okay, moving on. These are genuine P90 single coils according to the specs, and according to this they're fixed in the old traditional way of being screwed directly to the body, and underneath here we'll find a little bit of foam, possibly some springs, yeah, both. Now here's a couple of things that are interesting. Firstly, the spring was pushing on those wires, so I'm just going to give it a bit of clearance when I put it back in, hopefully. Now, there's no markers on the pickups apart from B and N, which is quite traditional for bridge and neck, isn't it? Appears that they got these the wrong way around, which actually kind of makes sense because we just did the readings. I was thinking, well, I didn't say it, did I? I was going to say, well, it's unusual for the neck to have a higher resistance reading than the bridge. Well, I think we'll find that that's because they've got them in the wrong way round. This one here says N for neck, and this one here says B. Yeah, that's interesting. This has also got 2 lots of foam on there to give it a bit of extra lift, I suppose, don't know. Anyway. I mean, this is a right kind of Heath Robinson way of doing it, but it's the way Gibson always did it. So I'm not going to mark them down for that. But yeah, it's got double foam on this one anyway, to lift it higher, because there's no other way of adjusting these pickups. So, well, at least they've actually made an effort, I suppose, there. Right, I'm going to put these back before we flip it over. Okay, so I think, as we'd all expected, in the control cavity, we've got little mini pots. They're branded CF. I've got little Sputnik type green caps on the tone controls. And obviously the pickups are the wrong way around, not just wired the wrong way around, they are the wrong way around. So I'm not going to get into changing that now. But if you've got one of these, you might want to check yours. And here's the three-way switch. It's one of them cheap PCB type ones. And it feels it as well. So there you go. That's it. Right. What I'm going to do is put it back together, put some strings on, and then we're going to come back and we're going to straighten up the neck together and check the action and intonation together. Okay. I'll see you in a minute. No, seconds, really, literally. Right, new set of Ernie Ball regular slinkies, the same as I always use. I didn't mention the nut earlier, actually. ABS, I think they said it's made out of. I don't know what that is at all. It looks sort of, you know, well cut. So we'll find out, but I think hopefully there's plenty of room there. What we've got to do first, I'm just going to so strings are real loose still. I haven't tuned it up at all yet. Although I did tighten up some of these tuner buttons because they're a little bit loose, just with the screw. Obviously, you can see the screw in the top of them. They were just a little bit loose, so tighten them up, and they held all right. First thing I'm going to do is just lower the action. I've got a big screwdriver for this because these bridge posts are made of cheese, basically, so they do move. They screw up, basically. You can screw them up really easily. So I've got a big screwdriver that doesn't actually fit. So, oh God, let's find something else. I've got a smaller screwdriver that will probably mark. Screw them up, wouldn't it? But you've got to do this without any tension. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the action, and then we're going to check the intonation as we tune it up. Oh, and we're going to adjust the neck as well. So what I'm going to do is just, see, that's not, oh, it is a little bit tight. Make sure there's no tension on them. Or it'll make this more difficult. I'm going a fair bit because it was quite high. What I look for on the bass side is about 3/64ths, and on the treble side about 1/32ths. Don't know if you'll be able to see this, you'll have to trust me. I do it at the 12th fret as well. I think some people do it at the 15th. But I always take that measurement at the 12th fret. Yeah, just a little bit over 3/64ths now on the bass side. Treble. Right, bang on 1/32ths. I might be a little bit too low. Yeah, I might just come up a little bit on that. Right. Let's straighten the neck and then check the intonation. Intonation. This is as difficult as it sounds, really. You just gotta just loosen them a little bit. I've had to do this on my 70s Fenders. There you go. You literally just do that. Has that fixed it? You better. There you go. You can't get a credit card down there now. So that's all good. And as you can see, the strings now got a little bit of real estate to deal with on the fingerboard. I've stretched them as well. Now let's check intonation. Let's try it fretting on the 12th fret. A little bit sharp. Harmonics a little bit flat. On the A, harmonics a little bit flat. Fretted is fine. Harmonics a little bit flat. See, there's a debate. Do you use the fretted note or the harmonic? I kind of look at both. You know, the conventional wisdom is you're actually fretting it, aren't you? So when you play it, so you want it to be in tune when you fret it. It's a little bit sharp. So they're all a little bit sharp when I fret them, so I need to loosen the string a little bit, don't I? Make it a little bit shorter, so I think that's the right way, isn't it? Yeah, that's the way I'm going to do it. Detune it for this. You have to take the tension off or you'll just chew these screws up. So, what I say I'm going to do, loosen it, didn't I? So, all I've got to do is loosen these screws and it'll just pull the bridge forward that way. It's guesswork, obviously. Well, that's assuming there is any adjustment in that. It's pretty loose, that. Yeah, I think that's as far back as it will go. Far forward as it will go, should we say. Let's see what's what. I'm going with that. I'm going with that. A little bit sharp. And that one's in. All right, it's imperfect. These are imperfect anyway. You know that, don't you? It's not a million miles out. That'll be fine. That'll sound fine, honestly. Trust me. That's about as good as you're going to get it, I think. In the time that we've got anyway. Let's feel the action. Let's feel the action. Well, that's better. Right, let's plug it in and see what it sounds like. See you in a minute. Right, here we go. This is what it sounds like. Unplugged. Sweet. These wrap tail bridges always sound nice. They always sound real nice and bright and open. Unplugged anyway. Let's see what it sounds like plugged in. It's a P90, isn't it? You can tell. Let's just back it off a little bit. See if we can make it smooth around the edges. Quite a raucousy sound, isn't it? Let's smooth it. Let's round off the edges a little bit. Well, see if the controls work, I suppose. That's obviously the tone control. Is not a lot of kind of range, but it does roll off. Let's just go a little bit. The volume. Oh, that's quite good. There you go, that was a little play through some different settings, wasn't it? Cleans up nice. That was quite beefy, isn't it? Because obviously that's actually the bridge pickup in there, and it's got a higher reading, higher output. Fully cranked. And then that. Together. So it's well, it's an interesting bit. I suppose if you bought this and your pickups were the wrong way around, would you notice? I think you'd probably, well, let's try some bluesy bollocks. No, I'm just going to say that's probably quite a nice bluesy sound, that, isn't it? I'm trying to avoid blues. So let's do Louie again. That sounds nice, doesn't it? That's what you want, that just that conversation that the guitar's having with the amp. Obviously, I've got pedals. I'm using the Klon clone, the Centavo from Warm Audio, and the Rat. And someone asked this week what Rat it was. I don't know. It's a Rat. It's just a kind of a normal, a modern-y one. Have a look. You can see. I don't know what type. That sounds. I was cautious when I say that sounds great. I enjoyed it. I really like the sound. It's really nice. Feels great. It's quite raw, isn't it? Let's clean it up and see if we can do something a little bit more subtle with it. Holds tuning pretty well. What I was going to do, I was always think of a Les Paul special. I always think of Bob Marley as well as a lot of other people, but he was well known for playing one. Most of the time, I think, or early on anyway. It is quite rough around the edges, isn't it? It's definitely good for high gain. Does it clean up nice? That's what a £199 Heritage sounds like. Now, before we get into it, like debrief, before we talk about what I think, I promised to tell you about the competition, didn't I? Competition to win This, the Epiphone inspired by, sorry, I'm going to start again. The expensive Epiphone inspired by Gibson Custom Firebird 63. What I reviewed a couple of months back now, wasn't it? So here's the thing, right? So first off, I was trying to sell this, and I think what that exercise proved is that, well, it's too expensive. Although I was trying to sell it, I only paid 1,200 quid for this. I was trying to sell it for 1,200. They're still cheapest I've seen in the shops today in the UK is 1,400 English pounds. Still too expensive. People are not buying them. They're too expensive. People are buying cheap guitars like the ones that we're reviewing this week. So, and I spoke recently about the problem of, you know, financing guitars, full stop, to review on the channel, because I want to keep turning over plenty of reviews. And whilst we've got some great support on board now with Gear for Music, our channel partner, you saw the logo at the beginning, and all the TV subscribers that are signing up in their droves, and people buying mugs and T-shirts and stuff. So everyone's supporting the channel. But, you know, to buy things like this, you know, it's not sustainable. But I've got another plan. What I thought I'd try and do is run a few competitions every now and then. That hope, if it works, it might not work. But it will hopefully finance the more expensive guitars, so that every now and then we can do something that costs $1,000 or 1,500 quid. You know, I'd love to get my hands on a new Les Paul Studio and review that, because I know there's a lot of you interested. And the more expensive Fenders, you know, the Player 2s and stuff like that. You know, I don't know, the performers, the professionals, the Philistines, palette. I don't know what they're called these days, but you know, they're too expensive for me to go out and buy on a whim, because it's not something that I would necessarily want to own. So here's the plan. I'm going to run some competitions. They're like raffle competitions, basically. And if it works, it'll pay for these things, and it might even make a little bit of profit for the channel. There's always the downside that it could make a loss. We're going to find out, because this one is now live on a competition on raffle.com. I launched it earlier this week on the TV channel for the subscribers there. So they've been buying tickets. It's now announced to you out there in YouTube land. There's plenty of tickets available still. £5 each, you could win this. Fancy a punt? If you do, it supports the channel, and you might win. You never know. We're also making a donation to charity as well. Blah, blah, blah. Go to raffle.com. The link is in the description box, and I've pinned it at the top of the comments. Go there now. The raffle's live. All the information that you need is there. It's all pucker. It's all above board. It's not a scam. Don't worry. I've checked. And have a look. There's a ticket deal on offer. There's about half of the tickets left. So half of them were sold already just in the last few days on the TV channel. So don't dilly, because I've got a feeling it's going to be popular, and there might not be any tickets left if you leave it too late. But if you do, if it works, well, if all the tickets are sold out, it will have worked. So I'll be running a few more of these things for other bits and bobs in the future. So have a look at that. Let me know what you think. Good luck if you decide to enter. And yeah, it's shipping wherever you live in the world. If you win it, it's free. Everything's free. You won't have to pay a bean or a penny or a dollar or a groat or whatever it is. Wherever you are, it'll just arrive. And don't answer any Telegram messages saying that you've won, because that'll be a scam. Okay, you'll hear from me if you've won. Anyway, all the information's on raffle.com, Guitaristas, links in the description box and in the comments. Good luck. Right, back to the cheapos, the 199. I thought it was great for that, honestly. Issues aside, some minor issues, but screws can be tightened, can't they? Action can be fixed. It was quite a simple job to just adjust that. And it's a cheap guitar, so I think all those things are excusable. The things that mattered, you know, the fret job and stuff like that, and the tuners worked all fine. The things that mattered, you know, it worked, didn't it? It wasn't faulty in any way. So what's to sniff at for £199? We've had cheaper guitars that have had fewer issues, sure, but, you know, the next one out of the box might be perfect, it might be worse than this. It's a bit of a lottery, obviously, when you're at this level, in it, because they whack them together as quick as they possibly can, forget to tighten screws up and put the pickups in the wrong way around. But on the strength of this, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I'm going to say, look, you know, if you can get one, you know, they're not easy to get hold of, are they? But if you can get one, I wouldn't be shy. This it's kind of got an attitude about it, and certainly having the right, right headstock, given the criticisms that I've levelled on their heritage headstock in the past. But yeah, having the right headstock, the right logo, having a proper brand behind it, it really does give it that extra, thing. It's a thing. I like it. I do like it. I really do like it. I really enjoyed playing it. I sold my Epiphone special a while back, actually, because it wasn't getting played, so I think I part X'd it or something. That was a funny colour, that one, anyway. This is a much better colour. Marigold yellow, they call it. It's weird, isn't it? So yeah, that's good. I mean, I hope that Heritage roll this out further. I think I hope they make it, spit it out, Cole. I hope they make it more widely available, because I can understand why there may be, I might just be way off the mark, but you know, it's like they're keeping it on the down low so as not to adversely affect the American-made heritages. I may be completely wrong. It may be legal reasons why they can't do it. I don't know. But I do hope they roll it out and that more of you can get your hands on these if you can, because the H-150 that we reviewed and I moved on a couple of weeks ago, I really like that, and I really like this. And I would say, yeah, you know, that's it. that's my review. We like it. We enjoyed playing it, and you should get one. There you go. That's it. That's it for this week. It's been a long one. Thanks, if you're still here. Thanks for being patient and sticking with it. I should try and edit myself, perhaps. We're getting on for an hour, I think, now, probably. I think I'm pushing my luck, but there you go. That's what happened this week. That just remains for me to say thanks again to Gear for Music for supporting the channel. Thanks to all the TV subscribers for supporting the channel. Thanks to all of you that have been on to theguitaristas.com and bought a bit of merch, t-shirt or a mug or whatever. Thanks to all of you for watching. And whatever it is you've done, you might have liked, you might have subscribed, you might have, I don't know, you might have just gone, oh, it was all right. If you're still here, thank you. Come back next week and see what we're up to then. What else? That's it. That's all for this week. The links, all the links are in the description box. Gear for Music, check out what they're selling, just as by way of saying thank you for supporting the channel. The competition to win the Epiphone Firebird, the links are there. Good luck if you have a go. I'll see you next week. Cheers for now. Ta-da.